of storage. So, where were we? Mrs. Bennet was quite disconcerted. She could not imagine what business he could have in town so soon after his arrival in Hertfordshire, and she began to fear that he might be always flying about from one place to another, and never settle and never feel as he ought to be. No, he doesn't ought to be there. He just happened to be there. She's being kind of narcissistic. Not in the medical sense. Lady Lucas quieted her fears a little by starting the idea of his being gone to London only to get a large party for the ball. How the opposite of pessimistic. How do you say that? Optimistic. How very optimistic. And a report soon followed that Mr. Bingley was to bring 12 ladies and 7 gentlemen with him to the with him to the assembly. The girls grieved over such a number of ladies, but were comforted the day before the ball I am so sorry, I am not professional, nor have I trained for this or practiced. But were comforted the day before the ball by hearing that instead of 12 he brought only 6 of them from London, his 5 sisters and a cousin. And when the party entered the assembly room, it consisted of only 5 altogether. Mr. Bingley, her 2 sisters, the husband of the eldest, and another young man. Oh, that was kind of good in terms of accent, but not really. Mr. Bingley was good-looking and gentlemanlike. He had a pleasant and countenance? Is that even a word? Is that how you say that? Easy, unaffected manners. His sisters were fine women, with an air of decided fashion. His brother-in-law, Mr. Hurst, merely looked the gentleman. But his friend, Mr. Darcy, soon drew the attention of the room by his fine, tall person, handsome features, noble mien. Mine? What's that? What is that? I'm just looking up what Mr. Hurst looked like. Don't mind me. Wait, was he the guy with the horses? Anyways, no. What does noble, whatever this word is, how do you say that? Is that English? Noble appearance, apparently. Min? Huh? How do you say this word? Pronunciation. In English, pronunciation. How? Mean? That's crazy. Okay, sorry, I don't know English. Handsome features, noble mien, and the report, which was in general circulation within 5 minutes after his entrance, of his having 10,000 a year. Gentleman pronounced. No, that's Scottish. Pronounced? I don't know how to say that in English accent. And to be a fine figure of man. The ladies declared he was much handsomer than Mr. Bingley, and he was looked at with great admiration for about half the evening. Half the evening? I don't know. To his manner gave a disgust which turned the tide of his popularity. Wow, this socializing of upper-class people, so annoying. Anyways, he was discovered to be proud, to be above his company, and above being pleased. And not all his large estate in Derbyshire could then save him from having a most forbidding, disagreeable countenance. I'm gonna look up that word as well. Yeah, this is turned into a vlog video where you follow me as I learn English. Pronunciation. Do you say pronunciation or pronunciation? Oh. Okay. Countenance? Let's see the English pronunciation. Still countenance. Okay, sorry. It's whatever. From having a most forbidding, disagreeable countenance, and being unworthy to be compared with his friend. Mr. Bingley had soon made himself acquainted with all the principal people in the room. He was lively and unreserved, danced every dance, was angry that the balls closed so early, and talked of giving one himself at Netherfield. I remember distinctly reading that sentence. Such amiable? Huh? Why is there so many not commonly used words? Amiable? Nope. Amiable? Such amiable qualities must speak for themselves. What a contrast between him and his friends. His friend, Mr. Darcy, danced only once with Mrs. Hurst and once with Miss Bingley, declined being introduced to any other lady, and spent the rest of the evening walking about the room, speaking occasionally to one of his own party. His character was decided. He was the proudest, most disagreeable man in the world, and everyone hoped that he would never come here again. Why? It's reasonable for him to think of himself as above everybody else because he kind of is. Everybody else is kind of just gossiping, which is weird. Yes. Amongst the most violent against him was Mrs. Bennet, whose dislike of his general behaviour was sharpened into particular resentment by his having slighted one of her daughters. As she should. Elizabeth Bennet has been obliged, by the scarcity of gentlemen, to sit down for 2 dances, and during part of that time, Mr. Darcy had been standing near enough for her to hear a conversation between him and Mr. Bingley, who came from the dance for a few minutes to press his friend to join it. "Come, Darcy," said he, "must have you dance. Must have you dance. I hate to see you standing about by yourself in this stupid manner. You had much better dance." "I certainly shall not. You know how I detest it, unless I am particularly acquainted with my partner. At such an assembly as this, it would be insupportable. Your sisters are engaged, and there is not another woman in the room who it would not be a punishment to me to stand up with. I will not be so... What is this word? Sorry. Okay, there we go. "I will not be so fastidious as you are," cried Mr. Bingley. "For a kingdom, upon my honour, I never met with so many pleasant girls in my life as I have in this evening, and there are several of them that you see uncommonly pretty. You are dancing with the only handsome girl in the room," said Mr. Darcy, looking at the eldest Miss Bennet. "Oh, she is the most beautiful creature I've ever beheld. But there's one of her sisters sitting down just behind you, who's very pretty, and I dare to say very agreeable. Don't let me ask my partners to introduce you." "Which do you mean?" And turning around, he looked for a moment at Elizabeth. Still, to catching her eye, he withdrew his own and coldly said, "She is tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me. I am in no humour at present to give consequence to young ladies who are slighted by other men. You had better return to your partners and enjoy her smiles, for you are wasting your time with me." That's funny. Remember how he was rehearsing Bingley's... That's a spoiler, never mind. Mr. Bingley followed his advice. Mr. Darcy walked off, and I'm gonna switch to Scottish just because it's easier, not because I'm better at... I'm arguably kind of better at Scottish accent, but that doesn't mean anything because I'm just so bad at everything in terms of accents, but switching to Scottish accent. Mr. Bingley followed his advice. Mr. Darcy walked off, and Elizabeth remained with no very cordial feelings towards him. She told the story, however, with a great spirit among her friends, for she had a lively, playful disposition which delighted in anything ridiculous. That's not good either. I'm aware of that. Sorry, Scottish people. How do you say evening in Scottish? Evening altogether passed off pleasantly to the whole family. Mrs. Bennet has seen her eldest daughter much admired by the Netherfield party,